All right, cool. Boom. So we live on the tube. Live on the tube. Welcome. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Daily Dose, the number one daily morning mastermind for those trying to elevate and grow in your professional, spiritual, personal, entrepreneur lives. Gonna start off with something new today. We're gonna start doing series. Each week is gonna be a different series, so we can stay locked in and focused on a specific topic for the whole week. So we're gonna do that for business development, and we're gonna do that for personal development. Want to make sure we're staying tapped in and maximizing the opportunities that we have ahead of us, right? But before we get into that, let's get right into the verse of the week. Verse of the week, Isaiah chapter 45, verse 2 through 3. I will go before you and will level the mountains. I will break down gates of bronze and cut through bars of iron. I will give you hidden treasures, riches stored in secret places, so that you may know that I am the Lord, the God of Israel, who summons you by name. God is going to go before us. God is going to knock down, like he said, gates of bronze. God is going to move the mountains for you. God is going to create the path ahead of you that you need so that you can be successful in the purpose that God put you on this earth to be. You have to know that God is Lord, right? You have to know that God is Lord over everything, right? And he said he summons you by name. You have a specific purpose that you need to go out into this world and fulfill, right? And remember that your purpose is connected to God's bigger purpose, which involves other people's purposes as well. So we heard the saying, we are only as strong as the weakest link. So in order for God's plan to work, you got to work your plan. You got to do what you're supposed to do out here to make sure that we're operating on one accord according to God's people. God said, I will give you hidden treasures, riches stored in secret places. You're not going to know where these riches are going to come from. It can be a friend, it can be a family member, it can be an opportunity in your business, it can be a promotion at work, it can be, your spouse, it can be um, it's so many different forms of riches, and they're going to be stored in secret places. You're never going to know where they're going to come from, but we have to appreciate all of that. God is so great. He gives us a purpose, and he gives us a reason to live every single day and live to the fullest extent that we possibly can. So today, the topic for the week is going to be public speaking, right? We all need to get better with public speaking. It is a thing that is highly important for us to understand how to do, understand that we need to get better at it. Specifically, today we're going to be talking about effective storytelling techniques, right? In order to be a good public speaker, you got to be able to tell a good story. Got to, got to. So, number one, start with a bang. That's either going to be a thought provoking question, an exciting event, an activity, like repeat after me, or hey, do this, do that, or a surprising fact that people might not know. Right? These are all bangers that you can start out with, literally. Thought provoking question. If you ever listen to preachers preach, they mostly follow this. They're gonna start out to make you think, make you get go ahead, just get your mindset in the right place. Question that preacher that I heard yesterday on Sunday, she started out the sermon like, hey, has it ever occurred to you that nothing occurs to God? Right? Like there are no surprises for God. God is all knowing. God knew what was going to happen this morning, in the middle of the day, at the end of the day. He knew what you were going to do. So did it ever occur to you that nothing occurs to God? It was crazy, but it's a thought provoking question. So you want to think about that as you're going through telling your stories. Introduce your character. Your character can be you. It could be a made up character. It could be a character that is you, but you give them a different name. It could be a made up story for all you care. You just want to introduce that person who is the character in your story that you're talking about, and it's gonna give them a name. You know, probably give them an age, give them maybe a location. Depending on your story, you want to add in different factors, right, about your character. But it's gonna depend on your story. But introduce your character. Next, you want to set the scene. This is one of the most important pieces of storytelling. You got to paint that picture. Use very vivid descriptions and make sure that you are appealing to sensory details. Talk about how the place felt, how the scene feels, how the scene smells, how the scene looks, tastes, right? Appeal to those sensories or to appeal to the senses and use very, very vivid descriptions about those things. Have a clear beginning, middle, and end. Right? People need to know how your story starts and how it ends, right? You don't want to be at the end of the story and people still thinking you in the middle, right? Then they don't know. Have a clear beginning. You don't have to say this is the beginning, this is the middle, this is the end, but you want to make sure that your story flows in sequence so that people can have a correlation as to, what's actually going on. We've all heard those people who are telling the story and you're like, and they just stop. You like, okay, was that the end of it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay. So you want to make sure it's just all clear. Next, make the story and the character relatable to your audience. Use some things or say some things that will make your character relatable to that specific audience that you are talking to. You're gonna have completely different audiences going to a business conference in New York as opposed to going to a church conference in the deep south. It's gonna be two different people there, right? You need to understand, and the same thing with going to a conference out in the West Coast. This is going to be different audiences, going to be different people. There's going to be different backgrounds. You want to make that story and character relatable to your audience. Even though you're telling the same story, you can add in different things that people would be able to more closely relate to. Then you want to end with a bang. You want to start with a bang. You want to end with a bang. Leave them maybe with a cliffhanger. Leave them maybe with, words of wisdom. Leave them with a question, right? And just end with a bang, or like I said, an activity. If it's a motivational story, you know what I'm saying? You might repeat it with an activity or repeat after me type of deal. End that with a bang. Next, you want to reflect with the audience on the deeper meaning. Right? This is optional depending on the type of story you're in, but reflect with the audience if your story has a deeper meaning and you want them make sure that they pull out the information that you was providing them through telling that story. So you can reflect with the audience on that for sure. Next, practice with friends and family. Practice your storytelling, right? And that can be from telling simple stories like about your day, something that your kids did, something that you're recalling from your past that you went through, just make everybody laugh, whatever the case is. Just practice storytelling with your friends. Storytelling is an underrated skill to have, super underrated, but it's extremely valuable. If you can tell a story, you can sell stuff. If you can tell a story, people will hire you to tell their stories, right? Literally. So just improve your storytelling techniques, something that we should all work out. So going into the self development series this week is going to be talking about productivity and focus. Productivity and focus, right? And specifically today is understanding the attention economy. Gary Vee just released a book called Day Trading Attention. Day trading attention, we have to understand the attention economy and why it's so valuable and important to businesses, companies, and to your personal sanity. Understand the attention economy is booming. Whoever can get your attention, they got the most value, right? And to you, right? And but you gotta be aware of that, and we're gonna talk about it. So our attention is a limited and valuable resource. We are overflow with information. This is the information age, and our ability to focus and devote sustained attention is limited. So people only have a certain amount of time before you clicking off that website. You're out of that video. You are not interested no more. You only have a little bit of time for that. And you need to also think about the distraction tactics that get you to move in multiple directions. So you're gonna be scrolling, you're gonna see things that you can click on. You're gonna see short form content. You're gonna get emails, you're gonna get text messages. There's so many distractions that we have out here that can get us to move in so many multiple directions. Understand what you want to focus on and navigate from anything that goes against it. So what are the things that you want to focus on? What are the things that you want to be um effective at? What are the things that you want to make sure that you are paying attention to and feeding your brain, feeding your feeding your spirit. Make sure that you are understanding that so that you can curate your lifestyle to focus on those things. Build your focus by meditating, journaling, and spending time in deep work. We got to strengthen our focus muscle. It is a muscle just like all the other muscles in our body. We in it. This is so important in this day and time. We have to understand that we need to build our focus is so important by meditating, journaling, and spending time in deep work. Understand how to gain, attract, and captivate others' attention. Got to understand that. How do we captivate other people's attention? What are other people looking at? What are other people looking for? How do other people gain, what it is that how do you gain the attention of other people to benefit you? Right. And it's not manipulation. It's not trying to coerce people into something. It's like we're all trying to share our story. We're all trying to engage even in our personal relationships and our friendships and our family dynamics and but especially in business we're trying to get other people's attention. So it's how do you gain it, how do you attract it, and how do you captivate it so that it can sustain on you for whatever the purpose is, right? We all need attention sometimes in some way shape or form, so understand how to really get that from somebody and get that focus from them. It's so important. But that's you got to understand the attention economy to understand why your productivity and your focus is so important. So definitely wanted to start the series off with that. Understand the attention economy, understand that people are out here fighting for your attention, and understand that you have the opportunity to curate your lifestyle and what your attention is focused on. So make sure you're tapping into that part of yourself. That'll wrap it up for today. Hope you was blessed by this, and we'll be right back at it tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.